Good afternoon. Welcome to a special edition of the news team. And we have a very special guest today. Of course, the entire team is here. I'll skip the introduction for the team because kilala nyo naman kung sino na kami by this time. Our special guest today is Justice Adolfo Azcuna, Adolf Azcuna. And Justice Azcuna was an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, and he was a member of the 1986 Constitution, 87 Constitutional, no, 1986 Constitutional Commission.
Yeah.
And he was one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution. And the reason we invited Justice Azcuna is because we'd like to talk about the remedies, the constitutional remedies that Filipinos have in the middle of all this corruption. When a lot of people are feeling very angry about the way a lot of elected officials in connivance with contractors have stolen billions of pesos from the national coffers. So madami nang nagagalit. And madami na nag-uusap, ang dami nang nag-march sa kalye, nagkaroon ng trillion peso march 2 Sundays ago, if I'm not mistaken. And ang dami na nag-rally sa iba't ibang lugar. At ang dami nang nag-uusap tungkol sa abolishing the Senate and the House of Representatives. And si Alan Peter Cayetano broached the idea of a snap elections. So, first question, Justice Azcuna, how are you? And thank you for joining us.
Are you as angry as us?
Are you as angry as us? How do you feel about what's going on?
I'm okay, thank you. I'm very eager to answer your questions, especially in view of the national crisis that we are facing in terms of the massive corruption that is being revealed slowly to us.
Senator Cayetano broached the idea of a snap election. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's not a good idea because it will only change the actors and the system will still be the same. And we have to address the defects in the system, such as, for instance, the absence of a definition of political dynasty. That has to be addressed. If we just elect the same dynasty people, it will not solve our problem. So snap election is not the solution. It's more of accountability and systems change.
In terms of accountability, Justice, paano natin gagawin yon? How can we do that when you know there seem to be efforts to run around the bush and to dodge accountability?
Yes. I think the citizens must take an active part in enforcing accountability. And I have a proposal for the Supreme Court to adopt another constitutional writ. It's called QUI TAM, which allows the citizens themselves to file cases against corrupt officials under certain conditions. So that's one of the reforms that we can do without having to change the Constitution.
May you elaborate on that?
How do we do that? Parang people's initiative, Justice?
Yes, it's just adopting rules in the same way that they adopted the rule on amparo. The Supreme Court has the power under the Constitution to adopt constitutional rules to enforce remedies under the Constitution. So pwede nilang gawin yun. They can adopt a writ of QUI TAM for us to allow citizens themselves, in view of sometimes the fiscals or even the ombudsman do not file the right cases at the right time. The citizens themselves are empowered under this writ to do so under certain safeguards.
So you're saying, Justice Azcuna, that like us as a group could file before the Supreme Court a case before against all these corrupt officials?
Yes, the Supreme Court or even in the trial court, cases can be filed against corrupt officials. But for now, we have the ombudsman who is now about to be appointed, who has the power to file these cases. And let's hope that the president chooses the right person who will do all the filing of this prosecution of the guilty parties. I think that's what's on the agenda now, the ombudsman.
Justice Secretary Boying Remulla seems to be the favorite and is believed by most to
Next
be
ombudsman.
the next ombudsman. Kaya po ba niya ang task?
Let us give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he wants to prove that he is deserving and he is worthy of the job. So if the president chooses him, we'll have to observe
Mhm.
whether he proves equal to the challenges of the job.
What would be his main task if, or not necessarily Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, the new ombudsman? Because the past, we didn't even have access to the statement of assets and liabilities of elected officials.
Yes, he has to, first of all, I think, unlock these salens, allow the salens to be publicized because that is the control.
Mhm.
And then he has to re-examine our laws because there is a provision in our anti-graft law that allows confiscation of properties of public officials that exceed in value their lawful income. So we have not been using that provision. In the United Kingdom, they use that a lot. The moment the official's assets exceed his lawful income, any of his assets, which
Automatic?
which
Wow.
corresponds to the excess, can be seized. We don't do that. What we do is we first prove that what we are seizing is illegally gotten. That's not necessary. All you have to prove is there is a gap between his assets and his lawful income. Then let's say the gap is 1 million. You can seize any of his property up to 1 million. That is
Sino
the
po
law.
may authority? The justice, sino po may authority na mag-implement to seize the assets of those?
It's in the law itself. It's Republic Act 1359, our anti-graft law, provides that.
Who should implement
We should
that
implement
law?
the ombudsman.
The ombudsman.
Should implement that.
Pero Justice, in the absence of an ombudsman right now, di ba? Ang sinasabi nyo, the immediate legal remedy is through a writ of QUI TAM. So we're just searching ito nga yung writ of QUI TAM in common law. It says nga yung sabi siguro na private individuals who can assist or who can receive for themselves all or part of the damages or financial penalties. So ibig sabihin, no, let's say a group of mga civilian groups mag-decide na mag-file ng cases, lalo na mga napangalanan na, di ba? In all of those mga DPWH or mga senators. Oo, we can file it at parang gamitin ng ICI to pursue the case. Pwede hong ganon, itong writ of QUI TAM.
Or do we file directly with the Supreme Court?
Paano ho bang sistema ho? How do we do that?
So right now we don't have that kind of writ yet. The Supreme Court will have to adopt it. And if it is adopted, there are procedures, there are safeguards. One of the safeguards is the prosecutor is given 60 days to file the case himself. If he fails to file the case, based on the evidence, the citizen has to submit his evidence. in a sealed envelope.
Mm.
This is my evidence. This is what I want to file. He has 60 days to file it himself.
Mm.
If he doesn't file it, then the citizen can file it.
Ayun.
That's the
60 days.
procedure. And then he gets 10% of the recovery.
Justice,
Oh,
That is the incentive.
Justice, what you're saying is you want the Supreme Court to be more proactive now at this time of crisis in the nation, to make its presence
Yeah.
felt. Wala
Yeah.
tayong naririnig eh.
You recall in 2007,
Mhm.
we had a crisis of extrajudicial killings.
Mm.
And the Supreme Court summoned a national summit in order to address the extrajudicial killing. That was our crisis. And for 2 or 3 days, we had all sectors, church, military, everybody
Mhm.
was called by the Supreme Court.
Mm.
I remember there were 12 tables, and each one presided by a Justice Supreme Court. We had the military and the NPA in one table.
Wow.
And at the end of that exercise, the unanimous recommendation was to adopt the writ of amparo. And because of that, the Supreme Court adopted the writ of amparo, and it protects us from extrajudicial killings.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is similar to that. Supreme Court can, in my suggestion now, call a national summit, because this is a national crisis.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court has a remedy. It can adopt rules of procedure. And this one of the rules of procedure it can adopt is QUI TAM. But before it adopts, it should consult, and this by national summit, 2-3 days, invite everybody, sit down together. Shall we adopt this remedy? Is there another remedy? Should we call stop elections instead? That's the kind of discussion that that forum can have. And so I suggest the Supreme Court be proactive and do what it did in 2007. Call a national summit.
what if they don't do anything about this? Walang mag-file ng
QUI TAM.
QUI TAM. So
Writ of QUI TAM.
ano yung proseso?
We can-
Who should trigger this?
Well, if there is no provision, there's the Supreme Court has the sole power to adopt rules of procedure kasi. So right now you are limited to filing civil action. You can file civil action perhaps against these corrupt officials for damages, bridges that collapse.
But Justice, if the QUI TAM is adopted, it forces the prosecutors to act faster because, like you said, they have 90 days.
Yes.
We won't
It
be
will,
wondering
will,
what's taking so long. We won't. At least
Yeah.
there's a timeline. There's a clear timeline.
Yeah, normally they have 60 days to file the case themselves. And then, of course, there are safeguards against fictitious claims. So, yun ang ano.
Is this
That's
the
the
same?
concept.
Justice Azcuna, is this the same, yung writ of QUI TAM, same as the People's Initiative? Kasi I know of some groups who are already moving to have digital signing of a People's Initiative to
Yes.
to ask for certain demands that the people want, no? Like yung prosecution and yung abolition ng Senate. I think it's going
Changes in the
around.
Constitution.
Changes in the Constitution. It's going around. I could see in many chat groups, people are really seeking for remedies na legal before they march, and even before magkaroon ng, we don't want violence to erupt, no? Justice Azcuna. So people are asking, what are the legal remedies for us? Aside from the writ of QUI TAM, is this the same as the People's Initiative? Yung ba yun din?
The People's Initiative are of two kinds. They can be to amend the Constitution or to pass a law, an ordinary law. So that can be done. For instance, a law to define political dynasty.
Yes.
Yes, you can try passing a law through initiative
Yeah.
defining political dynasty.
But it is difficult, Justice, because
30%.
you have
Take
to have
time.
3% per district, 3%
30% of the
Yeah,
total
diba?
number of voters.
No, and it's also per district. You
district.
cannot
Should be
just
distributed.
yeah.
Oo.
So it will be
Difficult
It will also entail a
time.
lot of costs. Pero why
Yes.
not? I think dynasty is worth it. Getting the dynasties out is worth the effort.
Can
I
a
agree.
digital signature
Diba?
campaign can it be considered a legitimate form? Kasi I see a digital form that's being passed around.
Well, the COMELEC is the one handling the forms. So the COMELEC will have to authorize the forms for this initiative.
Unauthorized pala yun sa'yo eh.
Oo nga, unauthorized pa pala yung... I have to check.
They recognize, the COMELEC says that it has to be in conformity with the rules regarding the forms for initiative.
So the group must make itself known first to the COMELEC and make an application.
Yes, clear with the COMELEC regarding this because they have to check the
Yeah. The
this,
requirements.
authenticity of the signatures compared to the voters list.
Remember, this was done, Justice, when former President FVR wanted to run again, extend his
the
term.
Constitution.
There was an attempt to get
Oo.
signature.
There was an attempt, but it was rejected by the Supreme Court because it was a revision, not an amendment. You cannot revise, you cannot propose revisions by initiative, only amendments. Revisions are extensive changes. For instance, in that case, they wanted a change from presidential to parliamentary. That's not an amendment, that's a revision. It cannot be done by initiative.
I see.
So we can't abolish the Senate and House of Representatives by people's initiative. Because a lot of people are talking about this.
Yeah, in legal chat groups, Tito. Kaya nga sabi ko, can we talk about it? Is it a constituent assembly? What is that naman? Because those are the
Constituent
options.
Assembly, there are three ways of proposing changes in the Constitution. One is the Constituent Assembly, that is Congress itself, meeting as a constituent body, can propose revisions as well as amendments. No?
And
The
then-
other one is a Constitutional Convention. Congress can call a Constitutional Convention, which in turn will be the one to come up with revisions or amendments or a new constitution. The third is through a signature, no, yung
People's Initiative.
initiative. But this is only limited to amendments.
Amendments.
Only minor changes, not extensive changes.
So there is no possibility of abolishing the House of Representatives and the Senate because it should start from the House of Representatives.
Itself.
Is that correct?
It doesn't have to start with the House. It can start with the Senate as long as both of them vote in favor through a procedure that is prescribed by the Constitution.
Oh, okay. Pero syempre, hindi ho sila boboto
Hindi sila
para
papayag.
i-abolish nila yung sarili nila.
Oo.
Hindi siguro mangyari yon kaya
Kung dynasty na nga lang, hindi nila
choose
mapasa-pasa.
you have to choose another mode. Maybe a constitutional convention.
Mr. Justice, ang tanong ko rin, okay, there's a move to abolish this institution dahil ang gulo-gulo, ang daming korap ano po. Yung Congress, yung Senate, yung House, medyo magulo kaya ang daming na-frustrate. Pero it should be constitutional, ika nga kung gusto natin i-abolish. Pero ang tanong ko po, what do you think? Will this move to abolish these institutions be good to the country? Ano po ang epekto sa palagay niyo sa ating bansa nito?
I think the move to abolish the Senate, which is really a move to shift from bicameral to unicameral assembly, is a good move. Originally, the present constitution as originally drafted was one that called for a single chamber
Congress.
legislature called National Assembly,
Close
like
to
our
your-
1935 Constitution of Recto and Laurel, the original adopted 1935 Constitution, one chamber lang called National Assembly. Yun po ang ginawa namin, unang draft, 1987 Constitution. Natalo kami sa butuhan. So the winning
By one vote, tama ba,
form of
Justice? One vote.
one vote.
Wow.
Felicitas Aquino. My friend Felicitas Aquino voted for a Senate. So nagkaroon tayo
Felicitas
ng
Aquino
Senado.
Arroyo.
So we can revert back to a unicameral by amending the Constitution.
But that would
Joker
be...
voted for.
But
Constituent Assembly.
Yeah.
Or, Constitutional Convention.
Con.
But I'll ask the question in the vein of what Henry was asking. Pag nag-unicameral tayo, anong diferensya nun sa dalawang houses? Kung sila din na nandun.
At
Yeah.
saka
What
Well,
is the advantage of having a single national
Assembly.
one
Yeah.
assembly?
At saka how long will it take to have a
I think
unit?
it will have to
Isa-
be,
Wag muna. Yun muna ang anong advantage.
pwede sigurong by way of initiative. As in my opinion, that is just an amendment. Hindi naman yan revision. It just needs a few changes in the language of Article 6. Instead of say Senate and House, you just say House. You just delete the references to the Senate.
But that's
So-
your opinion. Alam nyo naman, mamaya sasabihin na naman, there will be another side will say, that is a revision. That's not allowed. Paano yan? All the effort of gathering
Yeah,
signatures.
That is something the Supreme Court will have to decide. But in my view,
Sila lang naman yan ulit.
this is only an amendment, so it might be worth a try. In fact, at that time, I was able to write the changes here. In my copy of the Constitution, I changed the wording. So this is a unicameral. Walang Senado dito. In this particular.
Can we have a
Madali gawin. So if you
Advance
want
for it,
a
ito.
initiative, I already have the draft.
Ayan. Ayan
Oy.
pala. Handa
Advance
na.
by your house.
Teka muna, may tanong nalimutan ko tuloy. But
Yeah.
when there's a people's initiative, I understand that you can only do one amendment at a time. Kunyari, for dynasty,
No.
you can do in
Basta
one
sinabing,
whole effort, several changes.
Numerous amendments.
Yeah,
Whole
numerous,
menu.
like dynasty, single
Yeah, you can have.
legislative body,
Yeah.
only one people's initiative.
The one that limited to only one during the first 5 years. During the first 5 years of the effectivity of the Constitution, you could resort to initiative to amend it only once. But tapos na yung 5 years eh. So now you can submit as many initiatives as you want.
Okay, that's something that people need an avenue for their energies, that they feel that they're doing something, right?
Yes, because we don't want any other option, no? Filipinos will not opt for violence. I don't think so. No, what happened
Ayaw
in
na
Nepal, in Indonesia. I don't think
Junta will not fly.
And we don't want
we
that.
don't want that.
We don't want a coup either.
Yes, so
Constitution.
people are talking. I have several chat rooms and I see them really exchanging on what to do legally. So, thank you nga. This is so
Enlightening.
enlightening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Justice, that amendment that you have, that flyer, can already be the basis, the
Yes.
draft of the
Yes.
people's initiative.
Ayun.
May dynasty rin dyan? May dynasty rin dyan, Justice?
This dynasty is very easy. You just follow what the Muslim brothers and sisters did already in their parliament. They have defined political dynasty already
Mhm.
in their law. Naunahan tayo.
Oo nga.
Oh.
Yeah. So I asked them, what is your definition? Sabi nila, 2 degrees po, 2 degrees. So,
So you agreed to that? Yun ang,
Yeah.
yun ang proposal nyo?
Ayaw niyo
Second
nang hanggang
degree?
fourth?
so mas madali yun.
Mhm.
You don't have to amend the constitution.
Mhm.
It's just an ordinary law defining political dynasty.
Mhm.
Another way is for the Supreme Court to define it or to oblige Congress to define it. There is a pending suit in the Supreme Court for mandamus to compel Congress to adopt a law defining political dynasty.
Yes, but
So-
they haven't acted on it. Wala.
38 years.
Wala.
Ilang taon na yung nakabinbin sa Supreme
Hindi yung
Court?
sa Senate ka, wala rin. Ay, sa Senate,
Yung
sa
dynasty
Supreme
law,
Court.
38 years na.
Oh.
38 years?
Oo, hindi
Yeah.
in-action na.
Well, we will have to wait for the Supreme Court to decide that case.
So,
Uh,
Justice, what's your game plan? What is your next step personally?
To pray hard. Today,
We'll
or
pray.
the lady of the
Wala na
Rosary
kaming choice na rin namin,
So,
divine
pray.
intervention, pero mukhang...
Only God knows. Somebody told me that. Only God knows.
Yeah.
No,
So
but
we
Prayer
don't know.
power, no? Justice Azcuna. We will do, ngayon, we've done
Yeah.
people power. Now it's prayer power, ah.
People's
Prayer power.
initiative,
Muna.
that's something we can
Okay.
do. It's something
Unique.
tangible.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
people's
yes.
initiative. No, he's given us a lot of options. Thank
So,
you.
kukunin mo sa bahay
Oh,
ni Justice.
kukunin ko yung flag na yan.
Justice Azcuna, thank you very much for your
Well,
time.
How
Thank
about
you,
some
Nan.
final thoughts lang?
Yes.
Just,
Yeah.
Okay.
for
Salamat.
all of us.
Brief message
Anong
for
advice nyo
Filipinos.
sa
Yeah.
gobyerno? And what can you tell our fellow citizens in this space of crisis that we're encountering?
We have to trust our citizens to come up with the necessary action in the circumstances unfolding, especially the young ones. The young ones who voted for Kiko and Bam, the Gen Z. They are the ones will probably decide the outcome of this crisis.
Okay.
Well, they have the energy to collect signatures. Binigyan na ng trabaho.
With that, tingin ko,
Justice, thank you very
Yes,
much
feeling
for
good.
your time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
And
we hope you
wisdom.
don't mind if we seek your advice sometime in the future again.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Justice.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Thank you po.
Bye-bye.
Salamat po.
Okay.
Okay, ang daming sinabi ni Justice Azcuna na medyo lumuwag yung isip ko. No?
Mm.
Tsaka medyo, reality check.
Alam mo, para sa akin, Jing, ang maganda na sinabi niya, meron tayong, we can be proactive. There's something that we can do. Hindi lang tayo
Parang as
frustrated.
private individuals, meron pala tayong legal, di ba?
Meron
Na
tayong
hold na somehow we can.
kakayanan.
Anong tawag sa kanya?
Yun nga
QUI TAM.
Kaya nga for us non-lawyers, parang bago sa atin to eh, di ba?
Oy,
So talagang
Nung
sinerch ko
sinabi
na
nga niya
naman.
kanina, nakatanga tayo. Ano yun?
Google. So, dito sa atin, sa Google, QUI TAM comes from a Latin phrase meaning he who brings an action for the kind as well as for himself as it relates to federal law. This concept allows private individuals to litigate against entities that have committed fraud against the federal government.
Ayun. Ito.
Ang sabi ni Justice Azcuna, pag hindi gumalaw yung ombudsman,
Yeah.
pwedeng kahit sinong
Private
Pilipino.
individual.
Mm.
Oh.
But, kailangan i-approve ng Supreme Court your
Yun.
writ of QUI TAM.
QUI TAM.
Yung
Yes.
QUI TAM, QUITAM.
Oo.
QUI TAM.
So, Miss,
It's the QUI TAM
pinadala
theory.
siyang si Justice Azcuna, may pinadalang step by step, no? Una, spread awareness. Tell people about the writ of QUI TAM. QUI, tapos TAM. Tapos, sabi niya, urge the Supreme Court to act.
Yun.
Okay, siguro,
Yes.
rally.
Yun.
Because only the Supreme Court can authorize the writ of quit tam.
Yes.
Like
Parang yung writ
Oo.
of amparo.
Amparo. Nung 2007, nagkaroon ng National Summit
Oo.
ang Supreme Court at pinag-usapan yung writ of amparo.
Okay. Step 3, demand a national consultative summit. Oh, sabi niya, dapat di-discuss ng
By the Supreme Court.
Yes, this national consultative summit will need to discuss QUI TAM and other anti-corruption remedies available to the people.
Yun ang sabi niya, tag di ano yun?
Tag
Tag.
the Judicial Academy, PhilJA, and urge them to organize this summit. Okay. Tapos number 4, call for clear rules. Ask the Supreme Court to set clear guidelines for QUI TAM actions.
Ba't ka galit?
Kasi
Bakit?
meron palang komisyon yan.
Kaya nga.
Dalian na natin. Tayo na una.
Hindi, sabihin mo ano yung komisyon?
Teka lang, sabi
10%.
niya 10% nung
Of
makre-recover.
the recovered
Oh,
wealth.
Kaya kailangan may clear rules. Kasi baka fake na mga
Oo.
evidence ang mga
Oo,
ipadala.
para-
So kailangan i-pressure
Oo.
ang
You're
Supreme
doing
Court.
it not for the commission.
Oo.
Yeah,
I'm
para-
joking. Kayo naman.
Hindi,
Yung mga
pero-
legal groups,
Gusto lang.
law schools, perhaps.
Gusto lang.
Kung take the
Support
initiative.
the Judiciary Trust Fund. The QUI TAM writ can reward whistleblowers through a Judiciary Trust Fund.
Okay.
Under RA 12233.
Okay, so that's QUI TAM, no? Yung details niyan, Google nyo na lang ho.
Oo.
Pero that is a remedy na pinupush
Open
ni
to private individuals.
Justice Azcuna, former Supreme Court Justice Adolf Azcuna, no? Writ of QUI TAM. Yung People's Initiative na madami nagsasabi, gustong ipa-abolish ang House at saka Senate, hindi ho pwede. Bakit hindi pwede?
Matagal eh. At saka,
Hindi
kailangan
pwede
nila.
because
Sila rin.
it will take changing the Constitution. And a people's initiative cannot change the Constitution. A people's initiative is
Requires
meant
numbers.
to amend
Hmm.
parts of the Constitution,
Not revised.
Tsaka-
not revise. So
matagal
hindi
yan,
ho
process.
pwede ang people's initiative according to former Justice Adolf Azcuna. Ang isa pang remedy is constituent assembly. What is a constituent assembly? A constituent assembly
Congress
will be composed of
Sila-sila rin. ng mga
Sila-sila rin.
congressmen,
Naman. Tama.
Oo, sila-sila
Kasi
din.
kon-kon
Sila-sila
boboto
din.
sila eh.
They
among
will
themselves.
constitute themselves.
Into a constituent assembly.
Correct.
Ang House at saka ang Senate. So, kung ang gusto natin, kung ang objective natin, i-abolish ang House at saka Senate, syempre hindi mangyayari yun kung House at saka Senate din ang constituent assembly. Ang
Pero-
Constitutional Commission naman will seek to revise the Constitution. Pero ang magkokol ng Constitutional Convention,
Sila din.
sila
House
din. House pa din at saka Senate.
Kaya malabo mangyari.
Kaya malabo mangyari.
Pero through a people's initiative, pwede. Pwede.
Amendment.
Oo, amendment.
Amendment lang, but
Oh.
not revised.
Yes, but pwede naman gawing single lang ang...
Unicameral.
Yes.
Yun, malaki din yung
Pwede
point out din
through-
doon, yung unicameral na
Through a
transition, di ba?
people's
From
initiative.
both houses, di ba?
And I didn't know that in 1987, they proposed a unicameral
Oo, kaya
system,
nga, oo.
Yes.
which
By one
lost
vote?
by one vote.
Alam mo,
Yeah.
Jing, kaya merong party list representatives kasi yung party list pang unicameral. Hindi nila nabago. Katignan mo, pinostitute.
Yeah.
Diba?
That's the right
medyo,
word.
medyo
Yeah.
corrupted na the
And-
weights.
Anong medyo? Corrupt. Ang contractor
pinaka-importante,
nagiging
Kung sino-sino ang mga
congressman.
nilagay na hindi
diba?
dapat marginalized, di ba? Parang
So,
ganun.
para sa akin rin naman, aside from the QUI TAM, this is also a worthy pursuit.
Which
Parang
one says?
People's
People's
Initiative.
Initiative.
Kasi kung aantayin
Matagal.
natin, pwede rin naman yung sabi ni Justice sa Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Kasi meron ng mandamus, di ba? Nag-file sila Carpio,
Yeah.
Morales,
Yeah.
Carpio.
Oo.
Pero kung ang tagal rin di ba?
Tagal.
Para sa akin, maganda rin gawin ng mga tao.
People's Initiative,
Oo.
yes.
Ang
At
problema
least-
ang problema, sino
Bakit?
leader ng tao? Yun
No,
ang wala
that doesn't matter. at this
Hindi,
point.
wala
Why?
na tumatayo ngayon na leader. Meron ba? Kasi parang kalat yung civil society eh.
Doesn't matter at this point. Ang importante, people feel the same way about
Dynasties.
about
yes,
the same
strongly,
thing, diba?
Strongly.
So let people move in the right direction muna. The leader
Oo.
will come out
Ako-
of the woodwork. You know,
Ako
one of
maganda
these
pati
days.
yung
diba?
tao na yung gumawa eh.
Oo.
I
Hindi
remember
ba?
what he said sa later part nung sabi niya, ang feeling niya, yung mga Gen Z,
Yung mga Gen Z,
ang magpupursu
yung mga
nito
bata.
in the next.
Medyo
kasi
nagulat ako sa
Bam
sinabi
and
niya.
mga Kiko,
Oo.
yung mga supposedly, yung mga ano niyan, di ba, mga proponents niyan, yung mga nag-push
Yung
for their...
bumoto sa
Oo.
kanila.
Yan ang
Oo.
magdidictate in the future ng
Yes.
takbo ng eleksyon.
Eh di out ka na.
Hindi, tama. May kilala akong youth.
Oh,
Meron ako mga bata.
Si Henry. Oo.
May isa lang akong gustong linawin doon kasi ano sa QUI TAM. Kasi yun nga may premyo no? May premyo.
Yun lang yata interest mo.
Yun nga ang problema mag-aagawa sa pag-file yan. What if deliberately, yung iba rin, ano mo ng politika sa atin
Kaya nga sabi niya,
mag-file ng kaso
Salita
pero
niyo si Henry.
malabo yung mga ebidensya. Para ma-dismiss lang. Yun lang ang purpose.
Guguluhin.
Oo.
Go confuse.
So, sino makiklear? Kanino clearing house dadaan dapat yung mga
kaya nga may
ipafile?
guidelines.
Para
Yes.
masigurado na yung nag-file ng ordinary citizen, sapat.
Oo.
Yung ebidensya,
Totoong
tama yung
kaso.
pag-file.
Hindi yung fake.
Meron mag-clearing house ito.
Oo.
Kanino dadaan
Oo.
ito?
Oo.
Oo.
Whatever it is, at least maliwanag, hindi natin kailangan mag-antay ng
Oo.
eleksyon, matagal pa.
Oo.
3 years is 2 to 3 years is
Or
a
yung
long time.
ICI
Oo.
May
din kasi.
remedies para may
Hindi,
remedies.
At saka galit na tao, they want to see people, yung mga corrupt being prosecuted na, hindi na pwedeng pahabain pa to. Kailangan, ngayon na dapat may nakakulong na eh. Anong oras na ba? Diba?
Yung pa pala, that's one more thing, no? Yung snap election. Sabi ni, diniscount ni Justice Azcuna yung snap election. Kasi sila din naman yun, di ba? Sila din ang tatakbo pag nagka-snap election. So yung sinabi ni Alan Peter Cayetano, madaming
Butas.
kontra. No? Senator Ping said, hindi snap election kailangan parusahan yung mga may kasalanan.
Mhm.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Yan na, your views. Oh,
Okay. Siguro, Henry, ikaw naman mauna. Ano ba ang
wrap up natin.
para sa'yo?
Anong take away mo dito sa ating usapan?
At least, yung mga sinabi ni Justice, ang laking bagay eh. Para unang-una, magkakaroon tayo ng parang outlet yung mga tao. Meron pa palang paraan na legal,
Mhm.
meron pa palang
Oo.
tamang paraan. Imbis na gayahin natin yung Indonesia, imbis na gayahin Nepal, natin
Mm-mm.
masubukan ito.
Oo.
So ang ganda nga nung sinabi ni Justice, pero natin, yung sabay natin sinabi ni Ping, yung panukala ni Senador Cayetano, yung mga ganitong panukala, alam mo na dinatibert doon yung attention eh. Ang dapat pag-usapan yung corruption,
Correct.
yung kalokohan dyan sa flood controls, infrastructure projects, pagkakasagot ng mga politiko, ng mga senador, ng mga congressman. Bakit ngayon napupunta na sa i-abolish ang Senado? Naiba yung narrative eh. Huwag tayong mahulog doon. Yun lang.
Tama.
Gugulo.
Oh.
Pal.
Nanggugulo lang eh.
Sa atin, there's hope, no? Sabi nga ni Justice Azcuna, the Gen Z will lead this changes that we want to happen, ano? That there are remedies para sa atin na pwedeng gawin. Hindi na natin kailangan mag-eleksyon, no? And the system is not totally broken. Medyo may problema sa konsensya ng mga politiko, but still there are remedies under our constitution na pwede natin gawin, and we must continue pressuring government and those in power. Wag natin bigyan ng konting leeway, wag natin payagan na merong manggulo o manggulo nung
Mag-iba
issue.
ng kwento.
Oo, iba yung
mag-iba ng
kwento. So yun sa akin.
Danny?
Wala na. Pwedeng idagdag eh. Pero yun nga lang,
Blockchain.
na-excite lang ako dun sa QUI TAM dahil meron pala tayong legal remedy pang mga private individuals. Pero hindi lang, tama ba na 60 days for the Supreme Court to act on it? Kasi Supreme Court can sit on that eh. 'Di ba? Like, ito lang impeachment.
60 days, sabi ni
So,
Justice
ibig
Azcuna.
sabihin,
Then for a
how long will it
prosecutor to
take?
act.
For a prosecutor to act and then people can move.
So, if we do that, let's say, merong ang grupo na mag-pursue nga nung QUI TAM, ibig sabihin, syempre may legal representation din yan dahil syempre legal issue yan. So, kailangan substantiated by evidence, di ba? Hindi naman ordinary ng mga cases na. So, ibig sabihin, we will have to rely pa rin kung ano yung mga lumabas sa Blue Ribbon, ano yung mga lumabas dun sa mga findings ng House,
Oo.
at saka sa ICI. So, hindi ganun kadali for us.
But still, it's a remedy.
It's a remedy for
Yeah.
us. Oh, yeah.
Shari?
Yun, we have to support yung mga lalabas na mga proposal na laws that will prevent corruption in the future. Plus, we need to demand accountability. Sa mga nagkasala, dapat late na nga, ipakulong na.
Ses?
Sa akin, I think nasa kamay ng Supreme Court ngayon ang kasagutan kasi nakikita natin damage yung executive, super
House.
damage ang legislative. So ito, ang judiciary, the Supreme Court, the highest body, dapat manghimasok na at tinatawagan sila.
Proactive.
Oo, maging proactive. Tinatawag ang atensyon nila ni Justice Azcuna na pwede kayong magdaos ng National Summit para pag-usapan itong QUI TAM na ito. Kung hindi man nila gusto tong QUI TAM, is ibang solusyon. Kung I think tama si Justice na kailangan the third branch of government should step in because we are in a national crisis.
I'm very thankful that my colleagues are very level-headed. Kasi ako, mainit na ulo ko. Punong-puno na ako. Kayong mga politiko, pinaglololoko nyo lang kami. Malapit na ho kaming mapuno. Hindi ko ho alam kung anong gagawin ng taong bayan. Pagsabay-sabay ho kaming napuno. Pero matagal nyo na ho kaming niloloko. Tigilan nyo na ho kung hindi kami ang aalma. That's our episode. Okay ba yung ending natin? Not on a good note. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. The news team. So, pag-aralan nyo ho yung mga sinabi ni Justice Azcuna. There is a way. Thank you po for joining us again.